guys, how you doing? My name is Tisa and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be reacting to episode 24 of Vinland Saga, the final episode. I'm so I'm so excited on one hand, but at the same time I'm so nervous for what's to come. Like, this is the season finale, but it can still go in any direction. You know what I mean? Like, I have no idea what's gonna happen and how this season is gonna end. So I'm like super excited to find out. But like I said, at the same time I'm also really nervous also because, you know, anything can happen. So who knows how it will end. Maybe something is gonna change within Thorfinn. You know, he had that conversation with Leif in the previous episode. A wonderful episode, by the way. And we'll see how that conversation affected him and the whole concept of Vinland, you know, that's the title of this whole show, so it's good to see it come back into the story. So we'll see how it's gonna play out. I'm definitely really excited to find out. So without further ado, let's right into it. So let's go. Alright, I'm ready, so I'm gonna start the episode in 3, 2, 1, go. Back to this moment. From these fools. Okay, but there must be something behind this. Okay. Yeah. The king is trying to pull out a reaction from Askeladd. Okay. You know, that question, it can be interpreted in multiple ways, you know, like it can be as a way as sort of a, you know, it can be seen as talking back to the king, like, you know, I don't agree with your ways, but it can also be interpreted in a way like, yeah, I'm actually concerned that this is realistic, you know, that we can actually achieve this. So it now depends on how the king will take it. You know, we know from Ashlad's perspective, he just meant it as, you know, stay out of my homeland. I don't want you to come here. So we'll see. Oh, the last time we get to see this opening. This one's so good. Of course, I'll give a full review of this entire season after the reaction to this episode, so please look forward to that as well. End of the prologue. Ah! I knew. Yes. Okay, yeah, so he's just saying there's just not much to gain from it. That's actually a good reason. Now Torkel's getting interested. I don't trust what he's saying. Okay. Ah! What? Oh, he already knew. Oh my gosh. That look. Oh no, oh no. There's this hell, like, mental warfare going on between the king and Askeladd. Oh. Oh. He's going with life? Oh, like the look in his eyes changed a little bit. Like they got a lot softer after that whole conversation with life. Oh no. Where did he go? Oh yeah, he stopped putting on act. Yes. Those are his true words. Oh, now he's not holding back anymore either. Oh my gosh, Ashland. Okay. Turtle. Yeah, maybe you should stay put. He actually did it. Oh my god. No, but honestly, Floki, this was your mistake. Yeah. So that. Oh! So that was the plan? For Askeladd to sacrifice himself to become this criminal who opposed the king. Oh yeah. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh no. Oh, we've never seen Askeladd like this. Yep. Really? Oh. Floki. Yes. Is that it? Oh no! 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 I knew this was how it was gonna end, but no! Oh, I'm smelling a demotion. The dagger. What? Oh my god, what's going on? Why are we getting introduced to all these new characters? No, 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 no! Sorry, I cannot get a word out of my throat. Let's see if there's. I don't think there's gonna be an like off the credits scene. Don't let me go. I know no one's there. Okay, so that was the final episode of Vinland Saga, the prologue. That was all just a prologue. How? That was all just a prologue. Like, I've heard my brother mentioning something like that this is all just a prologue, and I was like, how? Like, there's so much going on. It seemed like this is just the main story. How can all of this just be a prologue for what's to come, you know? But after watching this, it kind of makes sense. Oh, this finale was insane. This was completely insane. With every development that happened, we had that whole, conversation between the king and Askeladd. And slowly Askeladd started to lose his composure. And eventually he killed the king. After that he went, into rage mode. Which he was acting, of course. But, it made me think, like, to what extent was this all according to plan? Like, how much of all of this was planned out? Because eventually, Askeladd decided to play the bad guy, so Canute could legitimately become the king. You know what I mean? So also Canute killing Askeladd in the end, it makes sense, it gives, Canute the, legitimacy that he needs to become the king that everyone is willing to support. So that part I understood, but I'm still like, how much of all of this was improvised? What was the plan originally? That makes me wonder. But what happened. So the king's dead, Askeladd's dead, Thorfinn completely confused and clueless of what he's supposed to do next. Because, Askeladd was his entire life, After Askeladd killed his dad, Thorfinn's life was all about revenge, killing Askeladd, he had all these duels. He even fought for Askeladd to obtain those duels, he got all those duels as a reward. So his entire life up to this point was all, all based on getting revenge to Askeladd. And he wanted to kill Askeladd personally as well, and now that someone else has done it, he just doesn't know what to do anymore, because his entire purpose or reason of living is now gone. And that's why Askeladd also asked him, like, now that I'm dead, what are you gonna do next? And, Thorfinn still hasn't thought about it yet. Even with all the support and hints from the people around him, he still didn't get it. He still doesn't get it. But now that Askeladd is actually dead, there's just no way you can change that. It's just a fact. It will probably make Thorfinn think as well what he's gonna do next. We even saw him drop the dagger, that final scene, which was insane. That part, so good, so good. That moment where he dropped the dagger and we saw everything that happened, throughout Thorfinn's life so far on that dagger projected. And the moment where it fell, we saw that effect. Oh, that moment was so good. I don't know what to do with my emotions right now. I have so many emotions right now. There was just so much tension going on throughout this entire episode. Then got so emotional with Askeladd's death. And then with that transition towards the, what's to come next. We even saw all these new characters that's probably gonna get introduced in the next season. I'm like, I'm so excited, but at the same time so sad, and at the same time still shocked about everything that happened. So I'm an emotional mess right now. So this is gonna be a messy review. But yeah, another thing that I was wondering about, we had this moment where Thorfinn was actually willing to join Leif and go back home, but then he saw this bird. He was really focused on that bird, and then the bird flew away. It was, by the way, like symbolic to, showing Thorfinn that he can also fly away like that, if he just lets go, then he can also be free like that bird. And I don't know if that bird made him realize that, or whether he was just curious about it. What I thought was interesting is that Thorfinn went back after that. So, he was willing to go with Leif at first, but then still decided to go back to where Askeladd was. And then he discovered that entire battle going on. But I was like, why did Thorfinn go back at that moment? Did he still want to finish that duel before going back to his homeland together with Leif? Maybe that's it, I don't know. But I thought that was interesting. But yeah, since there's a prologue, I think the next season is really gonna be focusing on Thorfinn again. Maybe he will pursue Vinland again, try to, reach Vinland. And on his journey, he might meet all these characters that we got, a little sneak peek to in the final scene. So that's gonna be really, really interesting. I cannot wait. I don't know when the second season is gonna come out, but I seriously cannot wait. But yeah, what did I think of this season? This season was phenomenal. There's actually nothing I can critique to the story. The story is made so well. The character developments, the entire plot, character designs, everything, the music, the animation. Don't even make me start on that, because that was on an entirely different level. But the show was just so good. It was perfect. I'm no doubt gonna give this a 10. But just the way they told the story. There was not a single boring moment. It got me intrigued the entire time. The entire time it made me wonder, like, oh, what's gonna come next? How people are gonna change, I kept thinking, like, how is Thorfinn gonna change? And for a long period of time, he didn't change at all. He stayed the same. And before we knew it, the entire focus shifted towards Askeladd and Canute and other characters. And Thorfinn sort of became the side character, which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, now that Askeladd's dead, now that Canute has become king, that's all out of the way, and now we can focus back on Thorfinn. I guess because Askeladd really, really played a big role into Thorfinn's life. There's just no way, no one can deny that. So I understand why the focus went to him as well. But still, I thought it was interesting that at first, Thorfinn seems to be the main character, but then it's all about the side characters like Askeladd, Canute, Torkel even, and Thorfinn just stayed the same the whole time, while everyone else was moving forward and growing and making progress. I think this is what they wanted to show us in this entire prologue. Like what Thorfinn was trying to achieve was just all a waste of time. They used 24 episodes to give us that point, but it was done perfectly. I don't think they wasted a single second of this 24 episode show. Everything they showed had a meaning. It was interesting. It just kept us entertained the entire time. So it's just great how they did that. I have no idea how they did that. And the show's of course also all about character development, or lack of it, because like I said, Thorfinn had zero development from the very beginning, while the others like Canute, who made the biggest development. Let's not forget about that. I remember that exact episode where Canute turned into a completely different person, where he turned from the shy boy to this king-like person. I still remember that episode and was amazing. Also with Askeladd, he didn't necessarily go through a development. We just got to know him a lot better throughout time. But he's still, I've said it tons of times, but he's such a complicated character. It's not a character you can just describe with one word. It's also really hard for me to say whether I actually liked him or disliked him. I would say I liked him just because of his complexity, I couldn't figure him out. But then he had this laid back character, but at the same time he was so cunning and sly and genius. You cannot dislike him. So here is a point I want to mention. Like a couple of days ago, I actually had this discussion with my brother, because he called Askeladd the main villain of the show. And I was like, huh? How can you call him a main villain? I just couldn't see him that way, just because of the time he spent with Thorfinn. Of course, Askeladd did a lot of bad things. He's still a Viking, he's a Viking. And even in this episode, he killed the king, and he willingly acted as the criminal in this scenario. But, we've seen him throughout the entire show. His interaction with Thorfinn, with Canute, with everyone else. I just cannot see him as a villain. I don't know why. So I just wondered what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Is Askeladd the main villain? Would you describe him as the main villain? Because I just can't. But I thought that was just really interesting how my brother mentioned that. And I was like, huh? That's why I said Askeladd's just such a complicated character. I just cannot describe him in one sentence. I have a lot of mixed feelings towards him. So yeah, this show is also so complicated. Not just the characters, also the story. at some moments we went really deep. We touched on to really deep philosophical topics like, what is love? We touched upon that question. We touched upon what it actually means to be a warrior. That was like the overall theme or question of the show. At the end, we didn't really come back to that question anymore, but I would say it still plays a big role, and also in the next season it will still play a big role. But yeah, so at some moments the show was just also really deep, and it really made you think about certain things. It even touched upon some religious topics, about Christianity, believing in God, what it actually means, and how that was really different from the beliefs the Vikings had, with the Valhalla and stuff, and how to die as a warrior to go to Valhalla, There were just different ideologies, and it was just also really interesting how they pointed that out in this show. So, aside from all the action, which was amazing, all the battles, we also touched upon all these, more complicated stuff, which also made the show interesting and more dynamic, I would say. But like I said, the action was also amazing, especially with the animation, top notch, nothing I can say about it. It was also really gory, They weren't afraid to show any flying body parts. We saw a lot of flying body parts. Also in the final episode, we saw flying heads, flying arms, anything. So they didn't censor any of that. But also in the less gory moments, when they were showing sceneries, the animation was top notch. Oh yeah, before I forget, one important thing I noticed in the show is how they animated eyes. The eyes in this show, they told so much. It was just so good how you could see whether there was life or death in someone's eyes. You should really focus on it. Like, if you ever want to watch the show again, focus on the eyes and just see how much they already tell you about a person's state of mind or their emotions. I thought that was so good. So there was something I really had to mention. And then the animation together with the music. Oh, wonderful. The music of the show is also so good. Because of the music, I had to cry so many times. I even lost count of how many times I cried during this show. I remember the first time was already in episode 4 when Thurs died, and a couple of times after that. Also, this episode made me cry again as well. I was not prepared, even though I should have. I should have seen it coming, but I didn't again. But yeah, this show made me cry so many times, and it's mainly because of the music. The music is so, so good. And not just the soundtracks, also the openings, the endings. They were all amazing, and they fit the atmosphere of this show perfectly. So, I cannot say enough how good this show is, but it really was. So I'm really, really looking forward to the second season. I really cannot wait. But I just expect it to come out in next year or maybe 2022. I don't even mind if they're gonna take that time, because if they can bring out just as good of an animation and as in this season, I don't mind if they take that time, I would prefer that over some rushed animation with less good quality. Just because the show's so popular, I just want them to take all the time they need and then come back with another masterpiece. Yes. So yeah, that was my reaction to this season. It was amazing. It was a wonderful journey. I really, really enjoyed it. So if you enjoyed my reaction to this episode as well, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to keep on following me and watch my reactions to other shows, please feel free to check out my channel and subscribe. But in any case, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.